So this is hip abduction, pails and rails, so isometrics. So I'm going to use a bench here. I'm going to do this standing today with a bench. There's various different positions that we can do this in. And I'm going to take my leg up onto the bench. Now I need to be able to get a stretch on the inside of the leg here. So all of this adductor tissue needs to be on stretch. So I don't quite feel a stretch yet. So I'm going to take my other foot and I'm going to walk it out. So I'm in a little bit more of a middle splits position and I'm going to get a good amount of length here. So now I feel this on stretch. So what that looks like for you may be completely different for this than what I've got. But the main thing is you need to get all of this at length, on stretch, feel a good stretch here, making sure that you can't lift that opposite foot. And then we need to hold this stretch. We need to hold a passive stretch for 90 seconds to 2 minutes. I'm going to use my stick here to, one, for balance, but two, to just get more tension through my pails and rails contraction. So I'm going to, first of all, hold this stretch 90 seconds to 2 minutes before we start our contraction. Relaxing the breathing during that time. If you feel like you can get a little bit deeper into that stretch during that time, you can try and get a little bit deeper, walking this foot out, walking this foot out. If you feel any kind of pull here on the knee, you can take the foot flat to the bench and see if that takes away the pull a little bit. So you can either be on the inside of the foot or with a flat foot, or you can bend the knee slightly and see if that takes the pressure off a little bit. But either way, we do want to ideally try and keep a straight leg if we can. So once you've held this stretch, our pails contraction, our pushing isometric, is to drive the inside of that foot down into the bench, but I'm also trying to scoop that foot towards me as well. So it's going to go down, but also trying to pull it towards me, as if I'm trying to close that leg back towards this one. Okay, so that's our pails contraction. So we start first at 20% effort, driving that down. Nice light effort first. Then we go 40%. 60%, I'm going to take a big deep breath in, pack that air down, get this full body tension. So I'm going to drive this stick into the floor for added tension, drive that foot. I'm even going to take this foot and try to pull it towards that one. So I get more tension on that side as well. 80%. Ramp it up to your greatest, safest effort. And we're going to hold that between 10 and 30 seconds, depending on how hard you're going as to how long you hold this for. Rails contraction, after we've done our pushing isometric, is we're going to now go the opposite way. I'm going to try to make that foot as light as possible on the bench. No movement is happening throughout the rest of my body. So I'm going to make it as light as possible, trying to feel now all of this tissue on this side, mainly the deeper part of the hip here, all around the glute med stuff. I'm going to contract that, feel all of this stuff here. But I want to think as light as possible on the foot, helps me contract all of this stuff here. And that's our rails contraction. And I'm going to hold that for 10 seconds to 30 seconds. And then slowly relax. Sink a little bit deeper into that stretch if the body allows you to do so. What you don't want to do in this rails contraction is start to lean away to try and get some more lift out of that foot. So the important thing is the rails contraction isn't about actually trying to lift the foot off. It's more trying to access all of this tissue deep into the hip on the outside. So no movement at all. So you do not want to be leaning away from that side. So pails is we drive down and try to scoop the foot towards us. Rails is we try to make that foot as light as possible. So that's your pails and rails for hip abduction.